everyone.
Hello.
So welcome back to our Facebook Live. So today we have a new series which is called Ask Yann Anything. So I am Julia. I'm the marketing manager for Beauty and Co. And today we have Yann, the founder of Beauty and Co. So Yann, before Chinese New Year, we actually received a lot of inquiries in our Facebook, in our Instagram. There's actually so many customers who want to do aesthetic procedures, before Chinese New Year to look great, to look beautiful. But we also receive a lot of concerns, a lot of customers asking whether the treatment is safe, whether the treatment will be painful. So today in this series, let's debunk some of the common aesthetic myths for our customers, okay?
So I think it has been, today we are doing this new series, Ask Yann Anything, is also because I think there's so many questions like asking me on a daily basis. Okay, so I would think, okay, let's do a series of Ask Yann Anything. I think anything to do with beauty, longevity, wellness, intimacy, relationship, sex, you all can always ask me. Then we will actually do this recording here and share it with everyone. So today we want to talk about aesthetic myth because me myself, I think I have been in this beauty industry for 20 over years. So 20 over years, I am, I started beauty, not so much on aesthetic. I am also a believer of wanting to be as natural as possible, right? So I think there's so many concern about people who think, do aesthetic good or not? And I think there's so many questions. Maybe Julia, you want to start with some questions?
Yes, I think the most common questions that we receive from everyone, almost every customers will ask, when they reply to our Botox ads, so they will ask, will this aesthetic facial cause my face to look very unnatural, swollen or expressionless? I think they are very worried, like maybe in some of the news where there's a lot of failed aesthetic procedures, so the person end up cannot laugh or cannot smile, the face looks so plastic, so a lot of customers are very concerned about this. They want to look like those Korean where they have very nice nose, no wrinkles, no crown face, but they are also worried what if it turns bad and they cannot move their face. So
Yeah.
Yen, how will you
I,
explain this to
I
customers?
think I think when we're talking about unnatural face, like very fake face, and you see hardness and things like that. I think first thing we need to ask ourselves is these procedures done maybe 20 years ago. Okay,
Mm,
I think 20 years ago, by now, sometimes you see a lot of cases like this because they implant silicone inside their face. Okay, so if you put silicone inside, and these are the things that doesn't dissolve, it doesn't go away, but as you age, your facial change, right? Because your fats, your bone density all change, but this two thing is still there, or the thing is still there, then of course it does look a little bit fake. Okay, and maybe 20 years ago technology wasn't so good, a lot of people go and inject silicone inside also, so frankly that would definitely looks fake. Okay, but if we are talking about today's technology, look at all this Korean lady, who is mom, and I think recently if you look at the Korean drama series, uh whatever drama series, you see this 40 years old, 50 years old lady, they can really pass 20 plus 30 or early 30s kind of look. Why is it so? It's because they have done so much of aesthetic treatment on their face. Okay, so do you think it's unnatural? I think if you don't do, it will be even more not natural. I have seen so many clients who has very stiff muscle over here, and you always see that they have strong and very stiff muscle, very thick muscle. Actually it looks unnatural, but
yes,
after you do your body.
saw I saw some people, they have the very angry look, as they
Yes,
age, even though they are not
yes,
angry, but because
yes,
of the muscles.
yes, yes. So actually I feel if you don't do, it will actually look even more not natural. But if you do, it will be natural. But of course, there are things that you need to take in precaution. I think number one is you need to find a doctor who is actually wanted to do less instead of more. Okay, because there are some doctors who keep on doing more and more and more, and sometimes you yourself also wanted to do more and more and more, right? Because let's say you have done your Botox, the line is not there already, so usually you repeat your Botox in 4 to 6 months, right? But by maybe third month, a little bit of line is out, then you actually wanted to do it again, right? So before the old Botox goes away, you wanted to do it. So you might sometimes overdone it because you always want more. So I think it's really important to find a doctor who can tell you, no, it's not the time yet. Wait, So I think what I love about Dr. Leong, our doctor in Beauty and Co, is she is a minimalist. She always want to do less to achieve a more natural look than to do more. Okay, and sometimes you might also encounter doctors who actually wants you to do more because of more sales, right? But I think it's really, really important to find a doctor who wants to do less than to do more. And of course, the second thing is also, are you looking for a certified doctor, or you're looking for, there's a lot of people say 江湖医生, the people who are not actually doctor. It can be beautician, or it can be anybody who go to take a short course and say, okay, now I can do injectable. Okay, and imagine these uncertified doctors, where does their product come from? No FDA approved product will sell to them. Definitely no supplier will sell to them because they don't have a clinic license. They are not a certified doctor, right? So there's no way. And I'm sure doctors will not sell to the beautician also, right? Because they are the competitors. So where does these people get their product from? So usually a counterfeit product. It can be from China, from Taiwan, so all these products might contain ingredient that cannot be dissolved, or it can be silicone. That's why it makes you so unnatural. And sometimes you can see people have this side bigger, this side smaller, and all sorts of complication. So I think, again, if you want a natural look, get a good doctor that you can really trust. And once you do it, you will know that, well, that's how natural I look.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. I think some customers also mention like they don't know how to identify a good doctor or not. I think like in last year we also have a case where there's a model who just died because she performed her liposuction in an uncertified clinic. So how can consumers actually differentiate whether they are doing it in a proper clinic, in a with a proper doctor? Is there any certification that the customers can ask from to
Okay.
have a look?
Frankly, nowadays, even with certification, a lot are fake. Okay, I have seen like social media that they say LCP license clinic, but actually they are not. Okay, so I think number one is know your doctor. Okay, if you know your doctor, uh, it's hard to escape lah. And all these doctor, they will have their license, and you can search online at MOH to see whether they are a real doctor or not. I think that is very, very important. And of course, secondly, sometimes it's gut feel. I think sometimes when you go in, you don't feel good. The doctor tends to overpromise, and I can tell you, a real doctor usually don't overpromise. It is
Yes, they
the
usually under
yeah,
promise.
yeah. So usually the real doctor, they will under promise one, because they have a reputation, right? And they don't want their license to be hanged or something. So, but the non-certified doctors, they have nothing to lose, and they can just overpromise you. And if today um, they did something wrong, they just close this shop and then they open another shop, because they don't have a doctor license to lose, right? But if you go to a proper doctor, there is always a license to lose. So I think sometimes consumer tends to like the over promise part, where 哎呀包你靚㗎啦 sure pretty one, you know that the 包 thing. I think you need to be realistic, okay? And you're doing aesthetic, you're not doing surgery. You need to be realistic with your expectation as well.
Yeah, so I think this is something that the general consumers don't understand. We always want the cheapest price, and I want to inject the most. You see, I will always, consumers will tend to compare among different clinics, what's the price, how many cc are you injecting. So actually, this is not the right way,
Okay,
to
I can tell you, even I I doubt about this. Of course, as a consumer, even as Malaysian, we always want valuable things, right? Right. But I don't think we want the cheapest thing, because the cheapest thing to inject in your face, you will have nightmare. You will keep on thinking, you are always doubt, oh, why so cheap, So I don't think we want the cheapest thing, but we definitely want things that is good values lah. Okay. And I think other than product, the doctor skill is really, really important. Okay. For me, even a trainee doctor, I will also think twice. Do you think I will let a beautician to inject my face? There's no way. Okay. Even a doctor who is not like years of experience also, I was like, okay, let me see how he do it first. I also like need to consider. So of course it will be, these are skill. If the doctor is not skillful enough, no matter how good the product, like how many cc and things like that, it doesn't really matter. It's like chef lah, right? I give you all the good ingredients, but you don't know how to cook. Then, so it's the skill of the professionalism. So I think a good doctor plays a really important role. And you
yeah.
don't be the doctor to say, I want 5 cc, I want how many cc. It's not for you to prescribe, okay? It's for the doctor. And that's why I say sometimes why you overdo it. Your doctor might say you only need 4 cc and you say I need 5 cc. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so another question that we always get is that customers will ask, are all these facial aesthetic procedures, be it injectables or lasers, are they only for mature skin? Like, will they say, huh, but I'm so young. Do I really need to do laser? Do I really need to do filler? These kind of procedures?
Frankly, I am being educated in a way that from a very young age, I need to take care of my skin. So I think it's all about at what age do you want to freeze your youth, right? So
Mm-hmm.
if you want to freeze it at 40 years old, then you freeze it at 40 years old. But a lot of people wants to look 25 every year. So I would think you should start as early as 25, okay? Of course, earlier than 25, can you do it? Depending on your problem, but sometimes, before 25, your collagen are still good, elastin are still good, you might not need it so much, so it will be like a bit waste of money lah. But after the age of 25, basically you want to freeze that, right? You want to look 25 or 28, or you want to slow down the aging so much. I would think you do it as early as possible, and once you start doing it, you will start to understand that doing it early is really very, very beneficial, because you see that your skin tone improves so much and you have less problem as you age. Your skin actually maintains quite well. So I would say I'm quite lucky. Although I did not do aesthetic kind of treatment, but I think at the age of 10, my mom already teach me about skincare. Like you need to do your cleanser, toner, moisturizer, sunblock. And I can tell you, up to today, I can still see people who are at their 40s, at their 50s, still not doing the proper cleansing routine.
Oh, then when you stand together with them, definitely can see the age gap.
Huge difference, huge difference.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I even hear one customer who educate me, she said, prevention is always better than cure. If I do my aesthetic procedures earlier in life, I start to look good. I will look good from my 25 years old all the way until I'm 60. Compared to someone who wait until probably they are 50 when they have all their aging signs, then only they start to do their treatment. So it's even more expensive, and the timeline for them to look prettier, younger, it's even shorter. So I was quite impressed with this customer when she come up with this concept that prevention
I
is
think,
over.
yeah, yeah. I think
Yeah,
reversing your age is way more difficult, but preventing it is way easier. So definitely, if you have the choice, always start earlier.
yeah. So
Hmm.
I think another drawback for people to start doing aesthetics earlier in life is that they probably are still stuck at the older treatment or older beliefs that every time you do an aesthetic procedure, you will have a lot of downtime. So you probably have to wrap yourself, you cannot go under the sun or cannot see anybody for 2 weeks to a month. Yeah, so this is another thing that a lot of customers are worried about on the downtime part.
I agree. I think if it's 20 years ago, most of the treatments has a lot of downtime. Of course, if you're doing a facelift, definitely the downtime can be goes to even months lah. And of course, if you're doing a surgery, it definitely will take at least weeks. Okay. Even I remember the old times, skin peeling is also very popular, right? It will also take like 3 weeks, cannot go out, your skin start to peel and things like that. So it was like, oh my God, so much of downtime. But I think because of technology has improved so much, and even pico laser, the pico way that we have, the normal pico, maybe their downtime is about 5 to 7 days. And the pico way that we have, the downtime is only 4 to 5 hours. So basically, that is like almost no downtime at all. Even when I did my thread, I was like, okay, I did it in late afternoon. Then the next morning, I am already having meetings with people, and nobody noticed that I just did my thread lift. So I would say, depending on what procedures you do, again, if you're talking about cosmetic surgery, definitely there will be still downtime. But if you're talking about all this minimal invasive treatment, or machine treatment, is like almost zero downtime.
Yeah, that is also why a lot of these treatments have been named as the lunchtime procedure. So meaning you can go in and out during your lunchtime. The treatment is very
Yeah.
short, and it's almost minimally invasive. So you can't see any downtime. It's just a lunchtime procedure. Okay, so
And instant result and no
yeah.
downtime. That's quite amazing. Mm.
Yeah, so I think especially with machines, a lot of facials are done with machines like lasers, for example, dual yellow lasers. These kind of machines don't really have downtime. And once you walk out from the clinic, your skin instantly looks so beautiful, like 2 tones brighter. Okay,
Yeah.
but these procedures recommended to be done on a very frequent basis. Are they going to thin out our skin if I do it like a facial every month?
I think depending on what treatments you do, I think when people talk about thinning the skin, a lot of things, I think a lot of time people relate it to laser. Okay,
Yeah,
I think when people think of laser, they always think it thins your skin, but actually it is the opposite. It doesn't only didn't thin your skin, it actually strengthen your collagen, where your skin is actually healthier. Okay, but of course, again, um, uh, doing procedures like this, you need to have proper diagnosis. Like dual yellow laser is no not invasive at all. You not only say you do once a month, even you do once a week, it's okay. Okay, but of course pico laser is slightly a bit more invasive. Then you shouldn't do this too frequent. It's not because it will thin your skin, but it will have too much thermal stimulation, and it might be also too much inflammation. Your skin is still not recovered, then you go and have inflammation again, which is not recommended. So I would think different treatments has different treatment time. Like how often do you how often should you repeat? Like facial, I do my facial once a week. Okay, when I go to Korea, they say that they do their facial 3 times a week. Okay, so when I do my facial once a week, people already think like, wow, so often, your skin will be thin. And people usually think that you should only do your facial once a month. But do you know, I cannot stand waiting for my skin to do once a month because there will be so much of congestions on my skin. So I love my skin to be clean, and I love being pampered doing facial. So I actually do it once a week. And when I go to Korea, they say 3 times a week. So you
Yeah,
know how the Korean, the skin looks so nice. Yeah.
yeah. So it's basically trying to detox your skin as much as possible so that it's able to receive the nutrients that we are putting on with our skincare.
Yes.
Okay,
And of course,
so
I think sometimes also about your timing, and also how much of budget you want to spend in self-care, right? So some people, they might go gym 3 or 4 times a week, but some people just like to come to a beauty center to pamper themselves 2 to 3 times a week. So all depends on the lifestyle that you want.
okay, so there are also people who say, once I start all these aesthetic treatments, I'm very worried that I cannot stop, or I will look worse. If I started on this treatment, I have to continuously do it on a very regular basis. Once I stop, then probably I age very badly. Is that true?
Okay. Okay, I think once you start, you cannot stop. I think that is quite true. Because you are so used of looking good. Why do you want to stop? I also don't know why do you want to stop. And these treatments are getting more and more affordable, and they are getting more and more innovative. I don't think you should stop self-care. I don't think you should lah. But once you stop, will it get worse? Definitely not. You will definitely look better than people who don't do it at all, right? But once you stop, your natural aging process will just kick in, right? And I would think, why do you want to stop? Frankly, I started my facial regime when I was 10 years old. Up to today, there will not be a day that I don't cleanse my face and sleep. I will definitely clean my face first before I sleep. I don't think we should stop lah.
Yes, actually, I agree with Yan on this because for me personally, when I was younger, I only go for regular facials where they do extractions, exfoliation, and a few masks. And then as I work in the industry, I was exposed to different technologies. We have OPT laser, we have dual yellow laser, and a lot of these different technology. So every time I do one treatment, I feel more confident when I go out. I can put less makeup. When I take photo, I can use less filters. So my filters don't need to be so kwajong. So it's just very mild filters, very mild makeup. And then as I progress, then I start to look at slightly more expensive, higher technology procedures. So I guess that is why people say once you start, you cannot stop. Because what is you feel so much more confident about
I,
yourself.
I, I would think you should not stop, right? Because especially let's say you're doing Botox, right? So Botox basically relaxes your muscle. So if you're doing it twice a year, basically that year you are not aging, right? Because your muscle are not building new lines, right? So why do you want to stop that?
Yeah,
Right? So,
exactly.
so I would think, if you think that the only reason you don't stop is because it really feels good and it's really good, that's why you wouldn't want to stop. If it doesn't feel good, it starts to have a lot of side effect, then of course you want to stop. I would think, yes, it's true. Once you start, you wouldn't want to stop because you are so used to getting looking good.
Yeah, so I think that quote should be changed from, once you start, you can't stop or you will look worse. So it should be changed to once you start, you can't stop because you look prettier than ever.
Yes, you are so used to looking good already. Okay.
Talking about Botox injections just now. So,
Hmm.
um, Yan, have you tried Botox injection? Is it painful?
Okay, I tell you, I am a person who like super afraid of needles. Okay, even like today when I go for my booster, I was like still very kanchiong. Actually, when I inject, okay, like actually it's not so pain. Um, if you ask me, is it painful? I think I think if you have never tried injectable, Botox is quite a easy entry because
Me,
it's the least pain. I think if you ask me, the pain compare, maybe fillers will be slightly more painful, but Botox is actually not so pain. And also because I'm a person who are afraid of pain, I tend to do less lah. I tend to do less, because if you are not afraid of pain, you might tend to like it more as well.
be
So
more
I would think,
motivated to do it.
so I
But
think sometimes afraid of pain can be also a good thing lah.
can save you a little bit of money.
Yeah, can you can tahan a bit more, like okay, let's still got like a bit of line. Never mind, I can tahan another 2 months only. I do the injection. So I think it's okay.
Yeah, but I think the a fun fact to share here is that actually a lot of women are very tolerable towards injection pain. Okay, so I actually spoke to a doctor before and he said that this is true. You know,
Mm,
guys, they can take punching pain. So if you punch
yeah,
them, that kind
yeah.
of pain, guys can take it. But guys
Okay.
cannot pricky needle kind of pain. So when you do laser or injections on guys, right, generally they feel very, very painful. If you ask them on a scale of 0 to 10, they probably tell you it's 12.
I would think men cannot tolerate any types of pain. I think even when do massage or even do body treatment, I see that women can tolerate pain more than men. And I think also because beauty to women is like more important, right? So
Online,
we
more online.
yeah, so I think women can tolerate it more because the desire to look good are more. So I think men, they don't really like desire wants to be like wrinkle free or things like that. So I think that's why their tolerance in pain are less.
Okay. So we look at another question that is
Hmm.
asked by one of our customer recently because before Chinese New Year, right? She wanted to look good. So there were so many things that she wants to do. Wants to do laser, wants to do injection and everything. So she was very concerned and asked if it's better to combine her treatment in one session. Like for example, she do laser, she do thread, she do filler together in one session, or is it better to do it maybe different months? Today I do my filler, then 2 months later I do my laser. So which way is better? Is it
Okay,
advisable?
I would think sometimes I find it very funny that people, because of Chinese New Year or because of something, they just want to do everything at one time. I I think I think looking good is a lifestyle. Okay, you should allocate yourself once a week or once in 2 weeks or once a month. To do this self-care. You shouldn't like, or end of the year I wanted to do a transformation and do everything. But of course, again, like I say, the technology today's also allow you to do that. Okay, you can do a combination of things. At one shot, you can do your thread lift, you can do high full treatment, you can do your fillers and everything. You can do everything at one time. But I would say, if you do everything at one time, maybe it costs you a big bomb. That's one thing. And second thing, of course, the downtime is slightly more because you might be having more inflammation. You might look a little bit more swollen. But again, it's also okay because sometimes we also have overseas clients who come. Like they only can come once a year or twice a year, right? So they need to do everything at one time. So it all depends on your habits, I think, your lifestyle, your habits. But for me, I always think that self-care, uh, it should be a lifestyle. You should allocate like once a week, once in 2 weeks, once a month kind of thing, to like constantly just make yourself look good, rather than today I want to do it all, then the whole year you don't take care, then you want to do everything. I think that is a bit extreme.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
this is very important also, especially if that person has got certain skin problems. For example, like
Mm,
for myself, I used to suffer from very bad acne problems. So
mm,
I tried different approaches, going for facial on a weekly basis. I mean
mm,
short treatment on a weekly basis compared to
mm,
some treatments which really takes very, very long, like 2-3 hours, but I do it once a month. So personally,
mm.
I feel doing short treatments at short interval is actually much more effective because you are constantly treating, you are constantly educating your skin to behave in a healthier way. Yeah,
Yeah,
so I think if you have the time and the budget, it's always good to pamper yourself a bit on a regular basis. It's
yeah,
also
yeah,
give us better mood.
yeah.
Yeah. So for Yan, what do you do on a uh what's your schedule like for a self-care pampering in a month? How many different kind of treatments do you do? What kind of treatments do you
Oh, actually, I wish I can have more time. I always wanted to do at least once a week, like full half day or full day, just pamper myself from facial to massage to weight loss, muscle building, anti-aging. So I always think that like once a week, I always want my massage and my facial. That's the basic. Like I definitely need that. And of course, I will add on other procedures like, oh, I feel like my eyes recently very tired and droopy. Then maybe I'll do some eye treatment. Example, Exilis eye. I think that is one of my favorite. I love HIFU treatment, but I don't do it too regular. It's only like twice a year. And and weight loss, I think, fat loss. I enjoy food so much. I think this fat loss is never ending. But I, in some way, I'm really, really grateful that nowadays the technology is so advanced that we can actually do fat loss treatment and muscle building treatment and maintain our body while enjoying our food lah. So I would really grateful. So I think this I would allocate at least once a week. Yeah. Sometimes
Mm,
I able to do that, sometimes not able, but I will try. I will try like at least once a week.
okay. So if there's a customer who asks you, I want to start on some kind of aesthetic procedures, but I don't know what I should be doing. Should I start with the face? Should I start with the body? What would you usually recommend?
I always want the customer to know what they want to achieve. you know if somebody who is slightly overweight and that weight is causing the person a lot of problem in terms of day-to-day life, then usually I will start with weight loss. Example, somebody who is after giving birth, right, like gain 20 kilos and your self-esteem is badly affected, you feel a little bit depressed because you cannot fit into your clothes, you're so low confidence that you feel like, how am I going to fit into my clothes when I go to work and things like that. If it's like affecting you so much on a daily basis, solve that problem first. Okay. Or example, you have acne, serious acne, and every day you have pain, you get very irritated with the acne. Solve your acne first. So I think whichever that bothers you the most, you start with that first. But if overall you are okay, then I would think just treat it like a lifestyle. Like me, I think overall I am happy with myself. Of course, it is always good
Can
to
be
be like
better.
five kgs lesser, 5 years younger. Of course, it's always good to be that way. But I would, to me, at this stage of life, it's a lot to do with accepting myself because I am actually aging. Um, and also allocate time to just part of my wellness and beauty routine. So to me, it's not so much on I want to look 5 years younger or lose a lot of weight kind of thing. It's basically like maintenance and loving myself kind of thing.
Yeah, so it's pampering and feeling good.
Yeah, feeling good. Yes.
So,
because it's never ending, right? Like
yeah,
if you're so obsessed with it, it's never ending. So of course sometimes there are certain goals you wanted to achieve. Let's say you say, okay, I have wedding, I wanted to lose 5 kilos. Then of course there's a goal to achieve. Then that is something that you wanted to be a bit more disciplined and more consistent to do it. For me right now, because I am not getting married. So it's just that every year I hope that I don't gain 2 kgs, because a lot of times as we age, we tend to gain 2 kgs. And if I'm able to lose 1 or 2 kgs in a year, I will be super happy already. And as long as my skin don't sag so much, and I thank God right now my skin is still wrinkle free. so
like
so I
five.
would say, yeah, so I would be very, very grateful. I just want to maintain and age gracefully. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think the advancement in aesthetic is really very great. Like, maybe 10 years and 20 years ago, all the treatments that we are doing is mainly for aesthetic purpose. It's just for us to look good. But the treatments today, for example, like the M Scalp Neo that we have,
Yeah. Yeah.
not only for aesthetic purpose, of course it does help us to slim down, to build muscle, but it also helps to promote a lot of health benefits like reducing our visceral fats, helping,
Strengthening your core muscle.
yes,
When
helping,
your core muscle is stronger, you have better balance, better mobility, a better strength. So all these are actually very important. Yeah.
yeah. So I'm quite surprised when I see a lot of our customers nowadays when they come for all this treatment. It's not just purely for aesthetics, it's aesthetics and health. So you look younger and you
Mm.
grow health, you become healthier as you age as well. So this is really very amazing advancement in the aesthetic field. So I guess aesthetic
Actually,
is,
there's another machine that I love is the Amsterdam chair. Okay. uh
okay.
yeah, so that is not only for health purpose, that is also for pleasure purpose. So people who are struggling to have orgasm, to have better sensation when they make love, that is an amazing machine. you know that is one of, to me, these are a few discovery that I feel really amazed with. Like Amsterdam is definitely one of the technology that I am amazed with it. Yeah. We can talk
Mm.
about that. I think that itself will have a lot of questions. Yeah.
Okay, so for Amsela, do you think we have more male or female customers who are like really obsessed about this technology? And
Okay.
why are they
Frank,
obsessed?
frankly, when I found this machine, this technology, I was thinking to cater to women. Okay. So when they're talking about urine incontinence, then when I found out this machine, I start survey around all the women who are actually pregnant and give birth before. I would say 7 or 8 out of 10 will have urine incontinence. So I find that, okay, this should be a machine that is, can really help, because urine incontinence is something that a lot of people experience but not talk about, right? So when I bought this machine, of course there's a lot of women who tried it. Then again, the process of discovery, I found out that, oh, this machine is also very good for men. Then when I start talking to the female client, and they start asking their husband coming to sit on the chair, the result is so amazing. This man is spreading to their friends, and you know how men love to share about sexual performance, better erection, how you can prolong your ejaculation. So suddenly the men just overtake the women.
Yeah, that is their report card beside their career achievements.
Yeah.
What about your own experience with the Amsela chair?
I love it is because I think because I have 2 kids, I think I have night pee problem, where maybe 4 o'clock kind of thing I will start going to pee. So it's very hard for me to fall back to sleep when I wake up to pee. So that is definitely affecting my sleep. I initially, when I tried this machine, after 6 sessions, I actually don't have night pee anymore. Actually, after second or third treatment, I don't have night pee anymore. So I was like, wow, amazing. Okay. Then the more I learn about it, then I start to realize that it actually also has a very good um, uh, impact on your sexual pleasure. So when I know about it, it become awareness, right? That I find that, oh, I get more orgasm more easier. Okay. And and especially on the day that I sit on the chair. Okay, so let's say today I sit on a chair, at night I have sexual activities. I can see that my orgasm is in a shorter time. Sometimes, it might take longer time for a woman to orgasm. For my case, after sitting it, your orgasm can be shorter time and it can be multiple. So you will love this machine. You can hear me? I can't hear you now. You can hear me? Any more questions on aesthetic? You're moving towards sexual health already. Okay, she has gone offline. So basically, I think when it comes to aesthetic, a lot of people still have a lot of wrong perception. They would think that, oh, I doesn't want to do any aesthetic treatment because there's a lot of side effect. I might look very fake and things like that. And I can tell you, if you get a really good doctor, usually you will not have this problem. Okay, you can see that a lot of people who look good, look young, look very natural, they also do a lot of work on their face. Okay, so if you have any more questions, you can always DM us, and you can ask me anything from beauty, longevity, wellness, and intimacy as well. Okay, so Julia, any more questions you want to ask me before we end today's sessions?
I think we have covered all the questions. So if we have any audience who wants to ask any questions, feel free to DM us or inbox us. So we will address your questions in the next Ask Yan Anything episode.
Okay, thank you.
Okay,
Good night.
bye.
Bye.